before we get into it here, and I got my Pepsi, right? For those of you who aren't on the video, so we may not be safe from the face huggers, but we are safe from Madam Web.
I'd rather deal with the face huggers.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I got the Pepsi.
That's fair.
But man, you seen this rumor floating around that they're gonna cast Josh Brolin as Hal Jordan?
Ooh, yes, I have.
Listen, we love Josh Brolin around here, around these parts. He's incredible in Dune. I really liked him as Cable in Deadpool, and let's not gloss over his incredible performance in Men in Black 3. That's not where you thought I was going with that.
Yeah, you zig where I zag. That was on me.
Okay.
Yeah,
you got to keep up. Got to keep up. And he also had that minor role as Thanos.
Oh, there was that
in What If. Yeah.
All right, dog. I don't think I'm ready for this.
You're not ready for this? You're not ready for my bullshit? We are recording a little later than normal, folks. It might be a little too late for my bullshit. But of course, like as the listeners know, Infinity War and Endgame, he's the guy, right? We will probably in our lifetimes never see a Thanos portrayal that is even close. Thought he killed it.
Yeah, I don't want to segue your segue, but damn, I don't think they should even attempt it within our lifetime.
No, probably not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to put him in like some animated shit or something,
right?
With like a Thanos copter or whatever, I'm down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would love like a really campy Mark Hamill Thanos with a Thanos copter.
Darn you, Avengers!
Yeah.
Oh no, Thanos is getting away in the Thanos copter.
It'd be kind of like a PC version of like a Pepe Le Pew cartoon where like Death is the lady skunk,
Yes.
And Thanos just kind of creeping on her.
That's fun. I mean, I said it before. Now that they got Deadpool in the MCU, they can do all kinds of fun shenanigans.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they want to do some cool animated shit, they totally and like this is ripe for the picking, right? They could do a Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, like kind of like a What If type version, but every episode is just Deadpool like fucking up some some well-known storyline. Yeah. You know what I mean? But anyway, like we love Josh Brolin, not to kind of bring us back in here. And I've even heard that like they've got a possible Ewan McGregor as a backup.
Wow.
And I'm like, why y'all trying to cast a 50-year-old Hal Jordan?
Yeah, well, where are we going with this?
And that's what kind of gets me, right? Is like you already got Nathan Fillion there as Guy Gardner, and he's no spring chicken either,
right?
And so I'm really confused as to why you would cast. Be looking at casting people of this age as what should be a younger Green Lantern at the very start of your franchise that we hope will have some very long legs.
Right. I mean, look at the age of their Superman. Clearly, this is a very young Superman.
Yeah.
So you would think that like your Green Lanterns or your Batmans and all of them are going to be, similar ages.
Yeah.
It was weird when I saw it, and it was one of those things where I recoiled and I tucked it away as like, this is just a rumor, a bullshit rumor, but then I kept seeing it and kept seeing it.
And full disclosure, folks, it could still be bullshit.
Yeah.
It could absolutely be bullshit.
And here's the thing, right? Like you said, Josh Brolin is tremendous.
Yeah.
It's just not every role is for every person. And that's not even me saying that Josh Brolin couldn't do a good job. It's just that there are other people who I think could do this role easier than he could. He does hard and grizzled extremely well.
Yeah.
Probably better than anyone.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, the more loose, egotistical, kind of brash, risk-takey kind of guy, who always plays younger. I just don't see. I mean, I can see Josh Brolin wanting to do this as like a challenge, but I don't know where James Gunn and Peter Safran are really going with the Hal Jordan character that they keep kind of leaning older.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it seems like what they want to get to is Jon Stewart, and I respect that choice 100%.
Yeah,
We've talked a lot about how difficult it is for these really popular kind of mainstay superhero characters for someone to kind of start in their shadow and successfully emerge. You have to have a really dynamic character to do that, and then when you're trying to do that on screen, you add an even larger layer of that where you then have to cast it right. And the actor has to be able to dive into those complexities that made them be able to stand out on the page and make them stand out on the screen. So it's even more difficult. So
I guess the real question is, who are they going to cast as Jon Stewart? That would really tell me a lot,
Right.
Because typically Hal and John, like, they play like buddy cops,
Right.
And so on one hand, I get if you want to have an older Hal to kind of help along a younger John, that's one thing. But their dynamic really plays us like it would be like you training me at like a new job, whereas you have more experience, but you're not older than me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of how like their dynamic is.
And what the fuck is Guy Gardner doing there,
bro?
if they're gonna do that,
yeah. And that's so. So yeah, with Guy Gardner being clearly a thing who's already established, we know he's going to be in the Superman movie. There are already multiple Green Lanterns, then, right, from Earth.
Well, or are they gonna try to condense it a little bit and like we come in with an established Guy Gardner? It's Nathan Fillion, so the odds of him dying are like Sean Bean level, right? So maybe he dies and passes the ring to Hal.
Oh,
and then we get Hal for a little bit, and they're while we get Hal, they're working on bringing up John. But even then, I'm like, Josh Brolin is old, man.
Yeah, yeah. So here's what I think, right? I think it's very possible that somebody who knows somebody on the inside maybe saw something that said Josh Brolin attached to Green Lantern, and they just assumed that, oh man, they want Josh Brolin as Hal Jordan.
I mean, it could all be bullshit still.
Yeah.
And also, even if it's not bullshit, it could still be James Gunn just fucking with us.
That too.
Yeah. It's possible.
I mean, he got his brother to play Maxwell Lord and, Sean Gunn. But I think that's probably going to be pretty good, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can only go up, right?
You can only go up.
From where we're at,
Yeah. That's true.
When you were talking about, like, every actor's not great for every role, I was just thinking, you really love Matthew McConaughey. It's in general. I just thought I'd bring that up. We don't have to dance on that. I just thought I'd bring it up.
We don't have to dance on that. We don't have to speak on that.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy Matthew McConaughey.
I know, man. And especially, I mean, obviously, like, the two roles that really stand out is True Detective, Interstellar.
Yeah.
He kills it in Interstellar, man.
I mean, he really does. And you know what's crazy? I've seen, boy, this is gonna blow your mind. I've seen Interstellar in theater twice back in the day when it first came out. I don't think I've watched it fully all the way through since.
Well, we're gonna go see it again in like a month and a half because it's coming back to theaters.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
We might have to make a trip down to that Mega IMAX.
Oh, that's that where they're doing it? The one in Pooler?
If they do it down there, we should go see it down there.
Yeah.
Because that'd be incredible.
That'd be dope as hell. Yeah, just to wrap up the Green Lantern thoughts, I just I need them to have some cohesion here. And I say this with all due respect, I hope that they don't plan on putting the full emphasis of the Green Lanterns on like the newer Lanterns, like Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz. They're definitely like the two are new Green Lanterns. They were created during like the New 52 era. So in the grand scheme of comic books, they are not that old. And I really like Jessica Cruz. Simon Baz, I can kind of take or leave. Jessica, she's an amazing Lantern. She has an amazing story. I really like her story. However, if we're doing something with the Green Lanterns, you got to make sure that Hal and John, above all else, are the ones who are going to be front and center, and then you usher in your other Lanterns.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talk about this a lot. It's like there's a way to usher in regardless of what the medium is. Mm-hmm. There's a way to kind of usher in that next set of characters, right? And we've seen to pretty much everywhere on the spectrum of like success to failure on this. You can do like the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and you can just decide. You can just tell the audience like this is who you like now, and then you can shit all over the integrity of your older characters that they love, that are beloved. Or you can introduce them next to said character and kind of let them, use that existing character to get people into the new character, let them have their own identity and their own legs, and just kind of have it like a MCU Sam, for instance. So
yeah, you're right, because imagine if like they introduce Sam in Infinity War, and then by Endgame you see Cap giving him the shield.
Yeah,
people would be like, "What the fuck?" But because of the way they built it up, people were like, "Yeah, this makes sense."
Yeah, and and whenever Jeremy Renner decides he does have to hang it up, they'll have done that successfully with Kate Bishop too. I feel like so
better than the comic books.
Yeah.
That motherfucker was dead, and Captain America was like, "You're the new Hawkeye," and I was like, "The fuck am I reading?" But yeah. Fun times. Speaking of fun times, man, we recently got back from Dragon Con, which I can't wait to talk about that later.
Yeah, tomorrow we are going to go in depth. We're going to bring you all the stuff from Dragon Con. It was crazy to me, man, to see not one but two articles on like comicbook.com and like other places like that where they were covering things that happened in panels that we were in.
That's awesome.
I'm sitting there like, I was sitting here for this. And for those of you that attend SDCC on a regular basis, this is nothing new for you, right? Like, but for Dragon Con, man, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Even though like some of the things that some of these people revealed were not intentional.
That's kind of a common occurrence, I feel now.
Yeah, here lately, I think so. But the Star Wars panel that we were in really made waves because I don't know that it was ever really like official that Ahsoka season 2 was greenlit.
I don't remember seeing anything about that, but they made it sound like I just missed the news.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, so production on season 2 is underway. I was like, she spoiled this. Like, y'all didn't announce this.
Right, and they were mentioning it in passing, like this was already common news.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, as soon as Mando and Grogu's done filming, we're on to season 2, and they're like, somebody was like, so are you going to share the screen with Bo-Katan finally? Mm-hmm. And she was like, all right, next question. I was like, that's a yes.
Right.
I mean, she damn near confirmed that she's in Mando and Grogu as well. I mean,
yeah.
Because while she didn't come out outright and say it, she was like, yeah, well, production on that's going to start when we get done with Mando and Grogu. And then later on, she was like, oh, yeah, we're on set every day doing this and this, It's like, but you just said you weren't filming Ahsoka yet.
I feel like they used to have like a handler of some sort to keep that kind of thing in line.
Yeah, like somebody would like give the moderator like a...
Right. Give them the Iggy. Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, no, next question.
Right.
Play the Oscars music or whatever. Whoever they have following Mark Ruffalo around.
And if not, they need somebody to follow Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah. And Tom Holland.
Both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah. Give them both the same fake scripts from here on out. Yeah.
However, you guys will have to wait until another day to hear about our endless adventures, revels, the blasphemers of the UPS cult, and all that other nonsense at another time. We are here tonight, actually, to talk a little bit about a little movie called Alien Romulus. And this one kind of snuck up on us, I think.
Yeah, it did. this was a movie that I had been quietly looking forward to. My expectations were real low, and I mean it's no secret. Like I love the Alien franchise, and I feel you do too.
Yeah.
And as fans of the Alien franchise, I also feel comfortable saying that they've had more misses than hits, but those hits keep on hitting. You know.
If we count, are we counting AVP?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about those. I wasn't even going that low.
I was like, if we're counting AVP, they definitely have more misses than hits. Oh, do we want to introductions? You want to do that?
Yeah, we're going to do introductions because proper introductions are always in order. So, homies, one and all, I would like to welcome you to a very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with my friend, my buddy, the homie Caleb. Welcome back.
What up, what up? If you're on the video, you can see I got this dope-ass outfit on. If you're on the mic, you'll just have to hear it through my voice.
It is dope as fuck.
But I got to say this. I'm going to go ahead with the reading of the rules since we're right here. This is, of course, a brand new movie review from us. So, as with all of our reviews, and if this is the first time you're tuning in with us, the first half of this will be spoiler-free. We will talk about the characters, the plot, the pacing, etc., in a very non-spoiler way. We'll give our overall thoughts and opinions. Then there will be a brief break where we will bullshit for a undisclosed amount of time to give you a chance to turn this off if you haven't seen the movie yet. If you still want to see the movie after listening to the spoiler-free section, today I think you probably will. And then we will go into a full tilt spoiler section for the second half. For those of you who have seen the movies, or the movie, you can get all of your winkies out in that second part, and you can read between the lines on that if you need to.
Maybe you shouldn't.
But now that all of the housekeeping is out of the way, we often say that the length of the cold open can kind of give you a hint of how we felt about the thing. But we had like a 15-minute cold open tonight, and I don't really know that is true tonight.
We've also been gone for a while.
We have been gone for a while. We haven't recorded since the con. Yeah. I guess we got to see if we still got the juice.
That's right.
So,
yeah, and you're right. Typically, the length of the cold open does kind of dictate our feelings about the whatever we're talking about. But yeah, this isn't really the case. I'll come out the gate and say this was an extremely enjoyable movie for me. While I don't think it's perfect, I think that it is really, really fucking good. And I mean, my list of negatives are dwarfed by the overwhelming positives of this movie. And the thoughts that I had on my ride home over here was, okay, I think that I like Prometheus and Alien Covenant more than most people, and I do acknowledge that those movies have their problems, but it's like Prometheus and Covenant, I appreciate them for their attempt to expand on the lore and to answer more questions by providing more questions and then kind of building off of that. What Romulus does that I really appreciate is it's not trying to add anything else to the lore. Instead, it's just trying to make another horror movie. And that, I think, is probably the main defining difference between this versus the other sequels that we've gotten since Resurrection, is that Romulus tries to be a horror movie, and it succeeds.
Yeah, I have to say that while I don't think this one introduces any new components to the lore, I do think it adds to the lore. Yeah, I just don't think it's opening any brand new avenues, right? Like, we got the, the whole thing with the what do they call them? Not the founders, like the progenitors or whatever they called them in Prometheus.
Right. What they call the engineers?
The engineers, yeah. We got the engineers, and all of that was because of that one scene in the first movie.
Right.
Very cool scene. So they were fleshing the lore out. We got a bunch more stuff there. This movie, I think, does a very good job of tying the first Alien movie and Prometheus, and to an extent maybe Covenant and Aliens together. If you actually sat someone down who had no idea and showed them the movies kind of in chronological order, you could probably tell them that this movie was made around the same time, just because of the aesthetic and the way it just really. Maybe my favorite thing about this movie is just how well it just slots in between Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, it does. It's like Alien 1.5.
Yeah, and it's like it was made to go there, and it doesn't. It was very clear that they wanted to tell the story they wanted to tell. They didn't want to be, put themselves in a box because of the second movie. But they also wanted to really respect that first movie. Like, this feels like a true sequel to Alien. We've talked at length about how Aliens is more of an action film. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love it. I think Aliens is tremendous.
Same.
And I'm not that's James Cameron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big James Cameron guy. You know what I mean? Aliens is an incredible movie, but the tone and everything is very different from the first one. That goes to the strength of the franchise. What we've been trying to say about superhero stuff for a while is like, you can make multiple types of good movies in this sandbox.
Right.
And this franchise does that. This movie is not trying to do that at all. This movie is trying to really make a sequel to the first one, both in terms of the lore and in terms of the tone. It is very much the tension and the horror is front and center. It's the main character of this movie,
Yeah, in so many ways, you're right about what you said about this slotting right in between Alien and Aliens, not just in terms of chronological order, but also in terms of like how the movie feels.
Right.
Because obviously we know that there's one xenomorph aboard this unequipped mining ship, and that one xenomorph, it wreaks havoc and is fucking indestructible. And then we get Aliens, and it's a group of well-trained, militia, like Marines, who have the weaponry that can take them down. What James Cameron did so good with that is that even though we see multiple aliens getting mowed down in Aliens, they still provide such an intense and heavy threat that there's nothing they can do. I told you I've been rewatching the Alien franchise, and I remember the part when Michael Biehn, who must be really good friends with James Cameron because he played Kyle Reese in Terminator. And I think it was in The Abyss, which is another James Cameron movie. But
I would love to see a James Gunn version of The Abyss.
That would be phenomenal.
Where do you think they'd stick the group shot with slow-mo with Beastie Boys behind it?
Right before they all fucking die.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a scene in Aliens for Michael Biehn. He's watching like the automated turrets, and they're just trying to gun down all of the aliens, and he's just watching the ammo deplete, and the aliens aren't stopping. And like that right there is like a perfect kind of imagery of what that movie does so well. Is that you got guns and they work to a degree, but damn it, you ain't got enough bullets. And then we get Romulus here, which slots between the first two. And like you said, they do such a great job of taking the horror elements from the first one. And there are a lot of horror elements in the second one too. Don't get me twisted. But like that tension and that anxiety that you get from watching the first one, they take that and they do a really good job of pairing that with kind of the action sequences that you get from the second one.
Yeah, I hate to always bring up some Cosmere shit when we talk about anything, but I've talked to you a little bit about the Sunlit Man, which is at this point the latest Cosmere book, and this movie, the pacing of it and the tension that it generates reminded me. I felt like when I was reading that book, because in that book they're on a world where every however many hours the sun comes up and turns the entire surface of the planet into lava. So like in that book, they're constantly moving. They always have to be on the move, and to stop is to die. Yeah. And this movie made me feel the same way that book made me feel, where they established pretty early on what the stakes are as far as the timeline goes. We'll get into this more in the spoiler section. And from that moment forward, the clock is ticking. And they weave in the fact that the clock is ticking in very cool ways, visually, and by the characters talking about it. And there obviously were some less nuanced ways they could have gone about it. They could have put a big ass red timer up and just kept showing it, Yeah. But I felt like the way that they like demonstrated that this ain't a leisure open world mission. This is a timed mission. The way they demonstrated that in the movie feels organic, and I think that added to it even more, right? Because while you're focused on the plot, they never let you forget. And they also don't beat you over the head with it. Like, hey, while all this fucked shit is happening, we on a time clock here as well. So, whatever you want to do, if you don't get out of here by this time, it don't matter anyway, know? So there's like multiple big threats to the characters in this. And I think that just adds another layer to the tension.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, This movie is. I want to start talking about the. Let's start about the cast here.
Yeah. Who did you think was the standout?
Oh, definitely the actor that played Andy.
Yeah, that's David Johnson.
David Johnson. Yeah.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, he was tremendous. And like, here's the thing. I don't 100% really like that character. But that actor was so fucking good at playing all aspects of Andy that you kind of forget that. This isn't really a spoiler because the movie tells you in like the first 2 minutes he's a synthetic, and his performance is so good that damn, you can almost forget he is a real person.
I actually, in the very very beginning of the movie, I thought that he might be autistic.
Yeah. I thought that after he was a robot too, though.
But then we find out that he's a synthetic, and he's just like his programming and everything is just a little off. Apparently, this guy is in industry, and I've kind of been interested in that show. But now that I know that he's in it, I really want to watch it. I probably will watch it now. Take that, HBO, because they keep being like, Kit Harington's in this. Don't you want to watch Jon Snow?
Jon
Snow. And I'm like, kinda. If I get some spare time, like I like Kit Harington, but I'm not like here. I want to give HBO 60 hours of my time for Kit Harington. That's gone wrong before,
Oh.
So, knowing that he's in that though, I probably will actually give it a watch now. I don't think I've ever seen anything that this guy was in. He hasn't been in a ton.
Yeah, this is all a relatively young cast.
Yeah, it was kind of like these are all the people that were like too good to end up on CW,
God damn.
Like they're relatively unknowns, but they're talented enough they didn't fall into that shit.
Right.
Arguably the main character here,
is it Rain?
Rain. That's Kaylee Spaney.
Okay.
And she was in a few things that I'm sure we've both seen. Have you seen Civil War yet?
I haven't. Was she in that?
Not the Marvel one, but like, yeah.
You do have to clarify on this podcast.
Yeah. She's in that. She's like the younger photographer in that. She was in Pacific Rim Uprising. She was in Vice. I don't know who she played in that, but that's a good movie. The Christian Bale
and was it Sam?
And Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
So I have seen her in a few things. What did you think about her here?
I thought that she was good overall. And I'll say this: I didn't have any issues with her performance. I actually thought her performance had quite a bit of emotion in it, and that emotion added levity to it as well, to this whole movie. My issue isn't with her; it's with they've got to stop putting these characters, whether on purpose or not, they've got to stop putting them in the Ripley position.
Right.
Because unless y'all got another Sigourney Weaver back there, you're not gonna get another Ripley. And I'm not even saying that they were trying to get another one. But damn it, man, if y'all not trying to skew close to it, you know.
Well, Ellen Ripley in general was always sort of the antithesis of the sole survivor from the horror movie.
Yeah.
Because back in the 60s, 70s, whatever, a lot of times the horror movie would have a sole survivor. It's often going to be a girl, but she typically doesn't get there from her own ingenuity. Mm-hmm. Usually it's either dumb luck or some, masculine, hero type character like sacrifices himself so she can get away. Ellen Ripley survived from being, number one, like clever, and number two, a badass.
Yeah.
And, we see her experience that trauma from Alien and go into Aliens. She's still hesitant, but she's done with the shit.
Yeah.
And then by Resurrection, she's just a superhero, which a lot of people didn't like that shit, but I didn't mind it, to be honest.
Yeah, I was out by then.
Yeah, I kind of like, fucking hybrid, badass Ellen Ripley.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was cool, but it's like, what am I supposed to be scared at any point for you in this movie? You've already died and come back, and on top of that, now you got superpowers.
I don't know that we were ever supposed to be afraid for her in that movie. To me, the most poignant scene in that movie is easily when she destroys the clones.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a reason that like that scene is the only thing from that movie that you ever see referenced in pop culture. Rick and Morty did it.
Yeah.
Like shot for shot, just about.
Right.
That's such an amazing scene in that movie where you see her standing in that room surrounded by all the failed clones of her. Spoilers for Alien Resurrection, Yeah, what was that, 99?
97.
Yeah, okay. And obviously, like, even, I didn't even put this together until right now, but my favorite movie of all time, The Prestige, clearly pulled from that scene as well. Christopher Nolan had to have had that in mind for the final scene in The Prestige. Spoilers for The Prestige, by the way. Where, that final shot of him dying, it's like the reverse of him dying in that mausoleum of himself that he's constructed, basically.
Now, I'll definitely concede, because that is a great scene and a great moment, and what was definitely an Alien movie.
Yeah.
It just wasn't scary. Like, there was no horror to it.
No, her story in that really is like this. It's really like a violation of herself, It's that even in killing herself to get rid of this thing, like Weyland-Yutani will find a way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I really don't. I can just say this. I really don't like the way that these alien movies make big corporations look. I mean, they just paint them out to be the bad guy. They make these corporations look like they're greedy and that they don't care about the people and only the money. I just think that that's just a highly inaccurate, propagandized version of reality.
It's interesting that in the legit lore, right? And this is so like important for today. Weyland and Yutani was two different companies, and they were like rivals or whatever. And Weyland Corp just ended up buying Yutani Corp.
Oh shit!
Yeah, because I think Yutani Corp actually sued them over the patent for the David model.
Okay, yeah.
And so eventually Weyland Corp just bought them.
Damn.
And it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So corporate mergers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Always in the best interest of the people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because now that those two mega corporations have absolved, there's now one less.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's one less mega corporation. Yeah, exactly. It can go bad for anyone.
Ain't it bizarre? And I promise we'll get back on track. Ain't it bizarre then, like in the Alien franchise, like it gets to the point where Will and Yutani, like they're all about trying to build the perfect worker for the goddamn shitty company.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all have androids.
Yeah, I always thought that was crazy, right? And I'm definitely not trying to draw like a one-to-one comparison here, but did you know that the Amazon factories that have robots in them, they all have AC because the robots will overheat, but the ones that don't have robots in them typically do not have AC.
Damn.
Yeah, because those just have people in them.
Yeah, those just have people.
And they'll be fine. Yeah.
I mean, clearly no one has told Jeff Bezos about it. Otherwise, I'm sure he get that resolved.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's just an oversight is all.
Just a mild oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like the thing about it is, and the way that they're looking at it is, a synthetic is expensive.
That's what I was thinking.
You know, it's very expensive for them to build a synthetic, but they can put 20 people on an asteroid and they'll start fucking.
Oh yeah,
You know, I'm not like etymologist, anthropologist. Either way, I think either one might work. I might be really wrong here. Correct me in the comments if I'm not. But give us that algorithm. But one thing I do know is that if you put enough healthy people on a surface, they'll fuck.
oh yeah, yeah. You put me on an island with 20 other eligible people. It might take me 1-2 hours before I get horny.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, obviously, like it's cheaper for them to just treat the humans like complete trash, and we actually see that in this movie really illustrated. And it's never, they don't ever beat you over the head with it necessarily, but it falls into the plight of these characters.
They actually do a good job with that because it helps you understand their motive as to why they're doing what they're doing.
Right. It actually makes really good sense. And I'm beginning to get more and more respect for that as time goes on. It's like anybody watching this movie, you're not going to go, okay, I don't know why they would do X, I really thought that the way they illustrated it here was pretty good. I do think that the rest of the cast that we haven't already named, other than one mega spoiler, is I could take them or leave the rest of the cast. They're kind of forgettable.
I'm kind of the same way, and for me, this is kind of where like if I had a ranking, why it would be number 3 instead of like contending with 1 and 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's because like you look at the cast from Alien or Aliens, and they feel real, they feel relatable, they feel lived out.
Right.
And besides, in this one, like you said, besides the synthetic and Rain, I mean, there's one character here who kind of semi takes like the Michael Biehn spot.
Yeah, that's I had it pulled up here. That's Tyler.
Tyler, yeah.
Played by Archie Renault. And he's been in. He was in Shadow and Bone. I never got into that.
Okay.
But I heard it's good. Oh, fuck. He's in Morbius?
Oh.
Sorry, Tyler. Give me a second. We got to figure out who the fuck he played in Morbius.
Oh, holy shit. Oh, my. I'm trying
He
to
was
think.
Bobby.
Who the fuck was Bobby?
I don't know. That movie's so goddamn forgettable.
Bobby.
Like, I literally remember Jared Leto and Matt Smith, and I forgot that fucking Tyrese Gibson was in it.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? Like
Yeah.
a detective.
Yeah.
Yeah, who the fuck was Bobby?
I don't know.
Okay, well, he was in it as Bobby.
All I know is I'm not watching that movie again to figure it out.
Oh, well, if they had a Madam Web sponsorship, I'm sure you would.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm only drinking this Pepsi to appease,
Right.
so that we're safe from Madam Web. Just because we're on the second floor doesn't mean anything.
Oh, absolutely not.
If you can crash an ambulance, you can crash a plane.
Right. With pristine aim too.
Yeah. And even if she just kind of flew it nearby, I feel like we would both get the urge to leap in front of it.
Yeah. That's part of her powers.
Yeah.
They didn't really explain it that much in the movies, but that's
well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Is to explain this to you.
Right.
We promise that sometime by 2027 we will stop the Madam Web references.
He promises.
No, someone, Sony, will come up with something worse by then.
Oh yeah, I mean, shit, we still got a few more months in this year.
Yeah, I mean, hell, in just a few weeks we're going to be watching Joker 2.
Oh yeah. The critics have been very kind to that movie.
Oh God.
Yeah. I bet that Venom 3 is like breathing deep sighs of relief.
Yeah, they're like, it's only up from here, Let's get us back on track here.
Yes.
I want to talk about the pacing of this movie. And I agree with you, by the way, before we move on, like the rest of the cast, forgettable. Yeah. Other than the spoiler, right? There's the spoiler, there's Rain, there's Andy. They all feel so fleshed out, and I would love to see more of Rain and Andy, honestly. Yeah. If they do like a direct sequel to this, I'd be very interested in seeing more of their adventures.
I fear that I may begin saying this too much, but honestly, I think more movies need this. This movie needed maybe just a 5-minute scene of a little bit of Age of Ultron, just seeing these characters live.
Yeah.
Like what about just on the way to their destination?
Right.
Just let us get to know who they are.
I agree. Yeah.
That would have helped.
So that brings us right into the pacing on this.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I think that we could use maybe a little bit of, this is kind of their day to day, but they do drop a lot of little tidbits in there for you to pick up off of. You can immediately pick up on the fact that they're very close to one another. They talk about their quote unquote parents, very fondly. It's evident that they care about each other and they have this really good relationship, very, very early on in the movie. I will say that they don't waste a lot of time getting going here.
Yeah.
And once they get going, the gas is on.
Oh yeah. And again, right, like you guys may have seen the trailer, maybe you've seen the movie or whatnot, but you may wonder what will lead someone to take the chances that these kids are taking. Man, you look at their circumstances, and it's like this may be their only opportunity. This is their 8 Mile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they see a moment, and like they are young. I assume in the movie they're supposed to be like early 20s or whatever. They are young and they are gonna take risk that maybe older, more wise people would think twice about. But man, looking at their situation here, it makes all the sense in the world for someone or a group like that of their age to maybe go for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we would have done it.
Oh yeah,
hell
yeah,
for sure.
Now, but like you said about the pacing of this, when it comes to horror movies, I am always more gracious of a slower pace because I like for the world and for the lore to be slowly rolled out so that it feels lived in and fleshed out, and then so that everything kind of feels cohesive. I didn't have a problem here with the pacing, except for it. There's almost zero ramp up. It's almost like 0 to 60.
Yeah, real quick.
Real fucking quick. But other than that, I didn't really mind that the pacing was slower in like the first half of the movie, and then it just fucking kicks up. And I mean, it's similar to Aliens. Like once it kicks up, it never really lets off, until the credits are rolling. But no, I didn't have a problem here with the pacing really, because the first half of the movie they're really explaining their situation and what they're doing and where they're going, and once they do, then shit hits the fan, and bada bing, bada boom, we on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the pacing here, it really, it there's obviously things that are driving the characters, but it's not this whole oh, we have to do this right now until it is, and at that moment, like once the clock starts ticking, it never lets up. As a matter of fact, I would say they go 0 to 60 and then they accelerate from there. Yeah. Because it does seem like about every 10, 15 minutes, something happens that propels it even further. There's one scene in the movie that was incredibly shot where you're just like, are they fucked? And it just like spiraled out of control. And like, you can see the influences on this movie from a lot of really cool films, and one of the movies that we talked about earlier that you can tell that this director is fond of is Interstellar. There's a couple of shots in this, and even a little tad bit of the soundtrack that feel like kind of a love letter to that movie, or you can see where they were influenced by that movie. Yeah. Especially the scene where they this is not spoiled. They dock with the airlock or whatever.
Right.
That shit was like straight out of Interstellar. And not to say there's not tons of space movies where that happens, but like the way it's done in Interstellar, it's a very unique shot, and they kind of ape that here in a good way.
Yeah. There's also a bit of a, I guess technically be considered like an Ouroboros. That's like the snake eating its own tail, like a cycle.
Yeah,
because we talked about this after we got out of the theater. I mentioned how like this movie, it reminded me so much of Dead Space, which is a tremendous horror game that takes place in like a kind of a claustrophobic space station, and there's lots of nasty fucking alien monsters that you have to deal with as you navigate. And I mean, I can't even say certain things. I don't want to spoil anything here, but even certain segments of the game that you do, this movie just really kind of, it looks like, resembles, and maybe even pays homage to it, but it's so full circle because Dead Space was definitely inspired by Alien.
Yeah, we actually talked about that after the movie a little bit. We didn't watch it tonight. Normally we wouldn't talk about it before we come on air, but we watched it a few days ago. And so, we talked briefly in the parking lot about the movie, and like that's one of the things that came up is it's like, I mean, clearly Alien, it heavily influenced Dead Space. And so it is interesting to see that, like you said, come full circle and see this movie kind of, taking influences from Dead Space as well. So,
yeah. I wish I had those fucking guns in Dead Space.
Right. Yeah. With that many bullets too. Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's even a mechanic in this movie that has been used in video games a few times, and I thought it was great in the movie. And honestly, if Starfield had done it as well as they do in this movie, I might be playing that instead of Baldur's Gate 3 for the 15th time.
No, you wouldn't, but it's fun.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I wouldn't. Especially after we, met the cast.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever.
Which, again, we'll talk about that.
Talk about that tomorrow, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I also just kind of segue into the next thing here. I love the music in this. The soundtrack was, well, not really the soundtrack, but the score rather, was so well done. I thought, I feel like in a movie like this, it shouldn't massively stand out to you. It should just enhance the shot, right? It should enhance the tension. And I think it does that.
Yeah, it does, right? Like their use of sound and music, like the sounds of a good horror movie, especially one in a environment like Alien Romulus, with the sound in general, the ambient noise is always going to be turned up because that keeps you unnerved, keeps you on edge.
They had that shit cranked.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, everything sounded like it was gonna fucking kill you, in a good kind of way for watching a movie. But yeah, I thought that the score here was also really well done, man. It didn't take me out of the movie, and they weren't trying to, they weren't trying to develop their own theme song or score,
Right.
But it just played perfectly into what was going on, like especially like the third act reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like everything about that moment really kind of played into itself in a great way.
I think that's the first moment where I maybe took a step back out of the movie as a critic and started to really pay attention to the music more. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, like the very end of the movie, like the score there was tremendous.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that they used it to kind of underscore like the tone they wanted for that ending, which I thought was great. That moment that you're talking about, the third act reveal, tremendous. Yeah. And it's not just the music either. It's all of the sound in this is so well done. Just that that horrific, and I can hear it in my head right now. That sound of the face hugger falling into the water.
Oh.
And that's in the trailer, so I'm not. Yeah. That's not a spoiler. You never want to fucking hear that sound.
No.
Ever. Like, I'll be honest, I wouldn't want to, if there was just one face hugger in this entire complex that we're in.
Oh, we're fucked.
That would be awful. Yeah. Right? I will be good goddamned if I ever want to be trapped anywhere that I'm like standing shin deep in water and one is in there.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely horrifying.
It's the most terrifying thing ever, right? Because say what you will about the entirety of the Alien franchise, the face huggers have never been bitches.
No.
They've always been fucking terrifying to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, you almost would rather fight the damn xenomorph.
Right. Yeah.
At least it's a large target.
Yeah, it's easier
if
to
nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah. And, at least, like, yeah, I mean, and just the whole process of dealing with just fucking eat me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hate spiders. I'm horrified of spiders. And these things are just spider enough.
Right. Spiders that face fuck you.
Yeah.
Like no consent, don't care, and they choke you.
Yeah.
And they don't even ask you what your kinks are. They just go for it.
No, they just go for all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, real assholes.
Real assholes.
Was there anything else you want to talk about before we score this one?
Yeah, actually. I want to talk about the use of their visual effects in this movie. And this is a gorgeous movie through and through.
It really is. Especially they nailed the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, other than like the special effects, which are clearly modern, right? The first 20 minutes of this movie, you could totally be forgiven for thinking it's from like 1975 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything looks so dingy and used and worn, even down to like the clothes that they're wearing. And it's not. I mean, I love the Matrix, so I'm not picking on it. But you watch Matrix 1, and it's like, man, those clothes you guys are wearing, like y'all can find something better than that. Like, but here, even their clothes look moderately worn. It makes sense, But the use or the look of the aliens were fucking phenomenal. And I've seen BTS footage of like so much of this movie was practical.
Yeah, they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
On that note, you talked about the clothing, and this is such a big thing for me these days. Like, one of the reasons why I think so many streaming shows feel like the production always feels, not always, but often feels cheap, even though you'll look online and it's like, this had a budget of like $30 million an episode or something, is because everyone's clothes are so clean. And this was even a thing, like, it wasn't so bad in Game of Thrones. They often did a really good job with it,
Right.
And then in Bridgerton, they kind of avoid it because, like, the outfits kind of are part of the spectacle, But, there's not, like, huge threats to these people. Like, they're Trouncing around in like Regency England. You know what I mean?
Right.
The worst thing that's going to happen is like somebody's carriage is going to go through a puddle and splash your dress or whatever.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, but in all these things, in Rings of Power and like whatever, everyone looks like they're on their way to the con, you know? And I really hate that. It's almost like they don't want to go through the process of making the stuff look worn. Mm-hmm. And, you know, whether it's so they can sell the cosplay or what have you. I don't know what the kind of reasoning behind that is, or maybe it's just a lack of care. But I feel like that cheapens it.
Yeah.
Right? These outfits that you see people in, they should make sense and they should feel worn.
Right.
You know, it was fine kind of in the Matrix when they did it because they were in a simulation.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the outfits that they wore outside of the Matrix looked dingy, you know. And I think that that's like a major thing that gets missed a lot. And all of the things that they wore in this movie, they made sense.
Yeah. Especially when you consider that, I mean, it's mild spoiler. They come from like a mining colony, you know?
Yeah.
So they're not going to be all prim and proper, you know?
Right.
Like, so yeah. But yeah, I just want to say that about the practical effects, man. Like they look tremendous.
They do.
Yeah.
And I mean this, like their ship and everything, the ship at the beginning, it looks 100% like the Nostromo. I mean,
it kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that like it fits just right in with the other ships that we see in this era of the franchise.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'll talk about this more in the spoiler section. Obviously, not too much here, but I will say there were like some very mild irritants and maybe discrepancies that I've noticed. And again, I can't really get into it too much here, but yeah, there were maybe just one too many winks and nods for me. Yeah.
So we can talk about that. Actually, going into this, I think my biggest fear was that I wasn't going to like this because I really thought that it was going to be just a completely separate kind of like the first movie, right? Where like nobody knows anything supposedly about these eggs.
Right.
And these people run into a ship, you know, and it's got the eggs on it, and there's a face hugger, and then we know what goes wrong. We know what happens from there.
Yeah.
And I really thought that this was going to be kind of like a almost mirror setup from Alien, where we don't get, it's just another ship that these things got on, and we don't get any tie-ins really to the rest of the franchise. I was really worried that that's what this was going to be. I was pleasantly surprised that that's not what happened. I actually thought it was, for my taste, for what I was looking for, I think it was spot on. Especially that third act reveal that you were talking about. I loved that a lot.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, that third act reveal, it was like, I told you this after the viewing, there were people who I saw had a problem with it. I overall enjoyed it. However, it is definitely it's another, it's kind of another callback to maybe something that happens in another movie.
Yeah,
you know,
that you may not expect to be referenced here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you're like, out of all the movies, that one. Yeah, that one. But yeah, you know, let's go ahead and score this thing, man, and stop dancing around some of these deets.
Yeah, so we can get into it full tilt.
Yes.
You want me to go first on this?
Yeah, you go first.
No secret, I love this movie. I will definitely watch it again. Can it stand on the shoulders of the giants that are Alien and Aliens? You know, to badger, since I'm already here, to badger this quote horribly. You know, if you're standing on the shoulders of a giant and you keep your footing, you can indeed see further than the giant. But if you lose that footing, can go very badly for you. I think this movie, I think it dances a bit. I don't think it loses its footing, but I also don't think that I don't think it supersedes one or two, Alien or Aliens. I don't think it exceeds those movies rather, but I also don't know that they were trying to. I think that I almost feel like maybe I'm willing to forgive certain things because of how well it does the other things. It's like this is the most tension I think of any of the Alien movies that I ever felt. Maybe I need to watch the first one again. But I really enjoyed this. I think purely from a visual standpoint, and this probably just because it's a modern movie. I think it's the best visuals of any of the Alien franchise. The way that this is shot, the guy who directed this, I want to see more of their work. Because the cinematography here was incredible.
Yeah.
Especially the space stuff. I think it's really hard to get space stuff right. Because you're shooting stuff inside that should be practical and, it should, obey a lot of the laws of physics that we, normally experience as humans. But then in space, you have to account for the physics of space, which the rules are significantly less. And then there's also no sound, right? And they play with that very well in this movie. Really enjoyed this. It's not flawless. I'm gonna give it a 9.0.
Excellent. Yeah, I gotta admit, I had way more fun with this movie than I was anticipating.
Same.
But that's not the metric that I'm grading this on, obviously. This is easily the best entry in the Alien franchise since Aliens. Since 1986.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. There's no question about it there. This is definitely up there. It's that good. The tension, the atmosphere, the claustrophobic feel of it all, the at times kind of horror video game objective driven feel. I liked and loved all of that. The xenomorphs are as gruesome and as fearsome as they've ever been. The face huggers are just as aggressive and as scary as they've ever been. Just the whole look of this damn near derelict looking ship is tremendous. But with that being said, there are still just a few things that kind of bring it down for me a little bit. They're not so bad as, seeing Kyle Reese in Terminator Salvation saying, "Come with me if you want to live." But they do play with things like that in this movie, and I'm like, I don't really need that here. And again, it's a small thing. These are all small things. Nothing that is going to really destroy the score or my enjoyment of this movie. I thought that this movie they did a great job with like the action and the horror elements and the use of these xenomorphs and facehuggers. I thought that was all great, man. But besides the few little nitpicks that I have to get off my chest, I gotta say that this was overall a really stalwart entry. It doesn't do anything to like propel the franchise to the next level, but damn, am I intrigued to see what they want to do next after they done this here. Caleb, you said that you didn't think that they were trying to outdo 1 and 2, and I think you're right. But I also think that's how you end up doing better than your predecessors. It's just by trying to do your own thing.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's what they tried here. Again, I had a blast with this movie, but because of a few little stumbling blocks here and there, maybe a few potential canonical maybe redos, it kind of brings it down for me a little bit. I give it 8.4 out of 10. Had a blast with this.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. We have a 9.0 and an 8.4.
Go see it.
If you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. Go see it on the biggest screen you can with the best sound you can.
I'm like you. I want to see this one again.
Yeah, I can't wait to crank this up on my surround sound of the house and have it scare the shit out of me. Go see it. If you have not seen it yet, this is your chance. We're going to give you a little chance to step off. I thought that for the break here that we could rank the franchise.
Ooh, okay.
So we got, I'm going to grab a pen.
Yep.
You got your notebook here.
Yep.
Here, if you want to do the thing. So let's list them out. We got AVP 1 and 2. We want to include those or not?
They got aliens in them. So
okay. All right. Yeah. So AVP 1 and 2.
Yep.
We got those. And then we got Prometheus. We got Covenant. We got Alien. We got Aliens. We got Romulus. We got Alien 3. And we got Alien Resurrection. I think that's everything, right?
That should be all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start at the worst. AVP 2?
Yeah, I was going to say Requiem.
Yeah, Requiem. Okay. All right. So that was easy out of the gate. So that's
out of the 9, that's number 9.
That's number 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we got what do you consider to be worse out of Covenant and AVP 1?
AVP 1.
Actually, hold on. Scrap Requiem. Alien 3 at number 9.
You think Alien 3 is number 9?
Yeah.
You think it's worse than Requiem?
Yeah, man. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why my brain didn't immediately be like Iron Man 3. Alien 3. You think Requiem is better than Alien 3?
There's nothing going on under the hood of Requiem.
There's nothing going on under the hood of Alien 3.
Okay, here's why Alien 3 is better than Requiem.
Because Sigourney
Weaver in it.
Okay. See, I'm starting to now understand why when we rank the MCU that like I kept being like, you still don't have Defenders? It's because it's just Sigourney Weaver.
It's got Sigourney Weaver.
Okay. I'll be honest. Like I have no argument for this. So Requiem 9, but Alien 3 is definitely 8.
Yeah, we can put that at 8.
Is there Alien? These movies are a little before our era, right? Is there more of an example that you can think of, like prior to the massive franchises we have today, of just a money grubbing fucking movie like than Alien 3? Because they were clearly like, okay, James Cameron's out, but we want to sell some more of these toys and shit,
right?
And here's $40. Go, go! Don't spend it all in one place.
Here's the crazy thing about Alien 3 is that it went through so many different directors and it has so many different rewrites. Did you know that one of the drafts for that ended up becoming Signs?
No.
Yeah.
That's insane. The crazy thing is, Alien 3 actually made money. The budget was $50 million, which is crazy because I think we said the budget for the new Crow was $50 million.
Yeah.
And like
$50 million. When was Alien 3 made?
Alien 3, this was in 92. $50 million was like a lot of. I mean, it's a lot of money now, but it was like a lot of money in 92. Yeah. Like, that was a real long time ago. Back before 94.
Dog. How much did it make?
$159 million.
Okay, you know what? I can understand that because if you watched Alien and then you watched Aliens.
Yeah, when 3 comes out, you're going to the theater.
Yeah.
it is hard for me to fathom this movie. To me, like, I didn't like it as a kid.
Right.
I've never enjoyed it. It's just a terrible film.
It had way too many rewrites, way too many directors, and by the time that the movie came together, it was a nothing burger.
It's like they brought like 10 executives or whatever into the room, and they're just going around with ideas, and they're like, well, we had these really impactful characters from Aliens, so like, what if we like expand on their stories? We got the little girl, we kind of build up, and like maybe like Ripley's training her to fight the aliens or whatever. Yeah, we're not really into that. They just go around the table and everybody's got like a different spin on it. And then the last fucking guy that gets, he's like, what if we did a dog alien? And they're like, this fucking guy, the rest of you get out.
That's right. This is why we pay you.
Yeah. It's just the most lowest common denominator, fucking bone dry on the idea scale, smooth brain ass.
It took the Alien franchise down to like just B tier Sci-Fi Channel trash. It has basically no redeemable qualities about it. They didn't know what they were doing. Sigourney Weaver showed up for that nice paycheck, and hopefully she got paid tremendously well,
Right. Yeah, I hope a lot of that budget went to her. It had to have.
Yeah.
It had to have. Yeah, Alien 3, fucking terrible. I
gotta put AVP next.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, no argument. Yeah, I was just thinking. I was like, it's got to be AVP.
I think it was Sanaa Lathan who was the star of AVP. I could be wrong, so homies, don't eat me alive on this, but I think that like she had never seen an Alien movie before,
or maybe not a Predator movie either.
Yeah. AVP is so low on this list for me because this is like the big culmination. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the Aliens and the Predators at the same time.
Yeah, this was supposed to be the Freddy versus Jason of these franchises.
Yeah.
And
even Freddy versus Jason wasn't really.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean, it hit about the same.
Yeah, hit about the same. At least we got to hear Freddy make some quips.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this was. There was fan fiction about this movie with people having Sanaa Lathan's character and like the Predator she was with. You can imagine.
No, not the Rule 34.
Oh yes.
Of course.
Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ.
I don't think any woman wants that phase going down on them.
No. God, no.
That's awful.
Yuck.
What's a female Predator look like? Can't be any prettier.
No, probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
They probably all the Predators. I'm sure there's some lore on this, and I'm sure somebody will let us know. But in my mind, the Predators are like all kind of that same build, and they just kind of do the thing where they like can change their genealogy to mate or whatever.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
They're
all super warriors, and if that's not the lore, then I just made it up, and it is now.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's really I think where we're gonna have our only point of contention.
Okay.
I would like to put Covenant next.
I knew you would. I absolutely knew that you would.
And I am not gonna let it has Michael Fassbender in it be the reason why it ekes up.
You're lucky that Sigourney Weaver doesn't make a cameo in this movie.
Well, I wouldn't even try. Yeah, that's it. I actually, you know what? Fuck you. Alien Resurrection has Sigourney Weaver in it.
Damn, you got
me. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes karma doesn't take that long, folks.
All right. All right.
I'll be honest, man. I was so bored during Covenant that I barely remember. To me, that movie is 2 hours of Fassbender expositing while he rides around on a unicycle. And I'm not super far off. They just decided to make a David movie, and I really hate it. This movie is like the complete, like the movie we're reviewing, Romulus. is like the complete opposite of Covenant. It's like everything that Covenant isn't.
Yeah, you know, it's hard for me to argue with that. I've been doing my rewatch, and Covenant is going to come up eventually. And I am very curious to see, because like I very clearly notice a lot of the flaws, a lot of the pacing issues, like the story trajectory. I noticed all of that on my original watch of the movie. But like, despite that, I still thought it did some interesting things with the lore. It is founded on like the engineers and like the predecessors of the xenomorph. What they call the neomorphs, I think.
Yeah.
And so like, just the geeky lore side of me really appreciated what this movie did to that degree. And like they had a couple of cast members that I wasn't upset at. Obviously, they spent a lot of time with the Davids.
I'm sitting there like Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park. You know, there are dinosaurs in Dinosaur Park. You know, I'm like in Covenant. I'm like, are there going to be xenomorphs in this movie? Because
and they get there. Oh, right.
So Covenant at 6?
6, yep.
Clearly Resurrection has to go at 5.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they spent time and budget for Sigourney Weaver to make that basketball shot, I'm like, I don't know if that adds or detracts from my take on that movie.
I like it.
Okay.
It was a very clever way to demonstrate that she's not all her, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, shit. There were other things they did that showed that.
Oh no, like the acidic blood.
Yeah.
I do like how she like kind of goes to the next level on like the Han Solo. Like, oh, this door is locked. Let me shoot it.
Yeah.
Shooting the control pad never works in the video games.
Right? You just it just kind of blows up and you get the coins or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know she goes level up on that. She's just like, oh well, I'll just slice my hand open and put my acidic blood all over it, and then it just.
You know that Joss Whedon wrote this movie?
Joss Whedon wrote Alien Resurrection?
Yeah.
Huh. I feel like things are starting to make sense.
Once you realize that, a lot of the creepy shit that like the male characters do start to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, it really does. And like that may be why like people started to believe like Winona Ryder was fucking batshit crazy. I'm not saying that she's not. Because, I mean, her character in Stranger Things is kind of batshit crazy.
A little bit. I mean, yeah.
It's crazy that that's the same person.
The same, yeah.
Because she looked so young in Resurrection. She was.
Right.
It was 30 years ago.
But then it's like, she looks like a fucking child in Resurrection. But then I'm like, Beetlejuice came out like 10 years before that.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
God damn.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I remember watching Resurrection, and I was 10, 11.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt like she looked close to my age.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm like 30, and I think she looks way older than me. You know?
Yeah, she looks about 50.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what happened, man?
All right.
I guess cocaine's a hell of a drug.
That's what I've heard.
And I don't know that she ever did any cocaine, but I wouldn't bet against it.
Listen, I haven't heard very many good stories about being a child actor in the 90s.
Right, yeah. Or any other era.
Or any other time.
To be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
What was that like very like from like not that long ago? That like Quiet on the Set or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, that Nickelodeon dog.
Yeah, there was like a Nickelodeon show. I was like, oh shit, like that's not even that old.
Right. Like I saw this growing up.
Right, yeah.
This is in my lifetime.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's gotten much better, to be honest with you. What was the other one? Family Matters had a bunch of drama.
Oh yeah.
It had like a Dark Side of TV episode that was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, hell, you still see memes about what the fuck happened to Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah, just vanished.
Right. Like Carl Winslow, you a cop, man. Go find your kid.
Yeah. Right. The real story of like what happened to that is crazy. Like,
because you can definitely see the shift, right? Like around season 2 or 3, how it shifts from like this family dynamic show to being the Steve Urkel show.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, next thing you know, he's like got like he's inventing like things that don't exist, time portals and shit. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Key and Peele sketch that they did on that?
Yes,
that was tremendous.
It was tremendous, and the thing is, I loved Family Matters as a kid, even when it became the Steve Urkel show.
Yeah,
like I remember that it's ingrained in my mind forever. This is probably the earliest that I can actually recall a like season finale of a show. You know, like the first time that me as a kid grasped that, but they did. A 2-parter where they were at Disney World, and it's the episode where he proposes to Laura. And that's probably the earliest time in my childhood that I ever remember like paying attention to like the format of a show like that.
Was he Stefan or Steve when he proposed to Laura? He was Stefan, wasn't he?
He was Stefan, and that was kind of the thing is like that she figured out she wanted to be with Steve.
Yeah.
Because she turns him down.
Yeah, because if I were him, I'd be like, I got you, bitch. It was a trick the whole time.
but they didn't show that.
Yeah,
you had to wait.
You had to wait,
and I was like, I was like, oh, what just happened?
Yeah,
that was kind of I think the first time that that kind of thing really like I started paying attention to that kind of thing. Was in that show. Anyway, we've now gone off on a
we start talking about Steve Urkel
family diatribe in the middle of our Alien Romulus review.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, never know what you're gonna get here. I think the rest of this list is gonna be pretty easy, right? Prometheus.
We got Prometheus at 4.
At 4. And I said this in the parking lot, like, give me this as a quadrilogy, right? Mm-hmm. Give me Prometheus, Alien, Romulus, Aliens. Like, that's the 4.
Yeah.
My
biggest drawback to Prometheus, it isn't that it doesn't feature xenomorphs in it. I mean, the name of the movie isn't fucking Aliens.
Is it that they waste Idris Elba?
A little bit of that.
Hard.
Yeah. Like you got Idris Elba in this goddamn movie and nothing. But my biggest problem is that they really don't answer as many questions as they could. And then as time goes by, I'm like, did they not answer these questions because they couldn't come up with any answers?
Yeah. You really thought that this movie was going to be like, oh, shit, like really eye-opening, like, here's the exposition. But I don't know that I think they may ask more questions than they answer.
I think so, too. And I think this movie would probably be better well received had they not tied it to Aliens.
Yeah.
That's kind of the weird thing.
Yeah.
But no, I still like it for what it is, and I do like that they tried to expound upon the lore. But
that surgery scene is one of the hardest things ever to watch,
bruh. One of the most unnerving scenes, and we'll talk about a similar scene in a little bit here, is when that engineer is he notices I forget who it was, but he notices one of the humans and just fucking beelines for them. I'm like, you need to get the fuck out. Like, that motherfucker is enormous.
Their ships look a lot like the Thanos ships. I just realized that.
Oh.
In Infinity War?
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I never thought about it till right now.
What if he was on it?
If like these are all
these are all Titans. Yeah.
I mean,
it's starting to track. Yeah.
I think here number 3 is obviously Romulus.
Yep.
And this is the cream of the crop, folks.
It is, yeah. What do you put at 2?
Yeah, that's the question, right? So we're gonna rank the franchise. So I think we have to look at this from not the scope of like whether it's a good movie overall, but like what the contribution to the franchise is. Mm-hmm. And because of that, because honestly, if you look at the 2 movies just side by side in a vacuum, it's hard because they're 2 very different movies about similar things. But in terms of this franchise ranking, I really think that Aliens should be 1 and Aliens should be 2.
Okay, you think Alien should be 1?
Like the original should be number 1. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Also, James Cameron, just call it Alien 2, you piece of shit.
Right. Right. Or Alien: The Reckoning, like anything, man. Just you don't have to.
Yeah, Alien 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Right. I would love to see the Xenomorphs just do the electric slide one time. What the fuck are they doing?
All right. Well, now we've given you guys tons of time.
Tons of time
to check out.
Yes.
And it's now time for the spoilers.
Spoilers, yes.
How about that fucking Act 3 reveal? Let's just go right in.
Man. So I'm going to be honest with you here. I love the Act 3 reveal, first of all.
Me too.
But the thing that I hate is that we didn't get to watch this movie the day it came out because the internet ruined that for me.
Oh, see, I didn't get spoiled on anything.
Yeah, and it's not that I was looking for anything. It's just mindless scrolling, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that creepy thing? And I glanced at the title, and it said, I see Alien Romulus, and I'm like, motherfucker. And so I just keep scrolling. So I hated the fact that was revealed for me. And also, again, fuck you, internet. Like, why y'all be posting shit like that? For real.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the spoiler policy is 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But, man. So here's what I say. I like the reveal a lot. I don't necessarily love how we got there.
When earlier in the movie, when they introduce that the two sides of the space station are Remus and Romulus, I really love that. And when we got the reveal of like all the face huggers on this side, I thought that the reveal of the other side, and the new movie is named Romulus, I thought there's got to be something crazy over there, right? And I kind of had that in the back of my mind the whole time. It's like, okay, well, what's it going to be? What's going to be over there? I was really pleasantly surprised to see this Prometheus tie-in. Because as we kind of talked about in the parking lot, what Peter Wayland was trying to attain for himself ultimately to keep himself alive.
Yeah.
Because that's what this all really originally stemmed from. Right. Is Peter Wayland had like the Elon Musk thing going on, and he just wanted to live forever, in all his riches. He's probably more of a Vladimir Putin, to be honest with you, because Elon's not that old. We're gonna have to deal with that motherfucker for many years yet, unfortunately. But what you see in Resurrection with Ellen Ripley is what he was trying to do.
That's the irony of it all.
The irony of the whole thing is that they accidentally, after all that time, created what he was originally trying to do. Yeah. Which he was trying to extract this Prometheus gene. Is it a gene? And merge it with his own DNA and kind of, and make himself immortal, essentially. And what this is kind of this, it's all based on this idea that the engineers essentially created life on Earth with this goop.
Right, the black goop stuff.
And he basically wanted to harness that. It's essentially the like essence of life or whatever. And I don't know that they ever explain it, but it's like it was supposed to be essentially that they wanted to kill everything on Earth, right? Like they had thought it was like a bad experiment. Yeah. And so the aliens are supposed to be like the xenomorphs are supposed to be like this is like the perfect death machine. Like anti-life equation, basically. And so we kind of get mixed up with that, and we see that they are, on this half of the space station, that they are trying to kind of reverse engineer them.
That
it's not going to go well immediately.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Yeah, like there was so much going on with the space station. First and foremost, right? All right. First of all, what'd you think of them of seeing like the original Xenomorph again?
Yeah, I really dug that at the beginning. Because when they get there and they're trying to like grab this asteroid or whatever, I'm like, what's going to be on the asteroid? You know? And obviously, like, the original Xenomorph got vented and would have been frozen. And it makes sense that they would have tried to track it down. And it's so crazy to see that this motherfucker's still racking up kills.
Yeah.
I did think it was kind of odd. Like, you think if anybody else in Hollywood made this movie, they would have made that Xenomorph like the final boss or whatever, you know? But he's dead before they get there. And it actually makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Because he wasn't some super fucking Xenomorph. He was just a regular ass Xenomorph. His only significance as being like the OG is because he was in the first movie.
Yeah.
You know?
But also, I mean, a real Xenomorph is still a Xenomorph.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I actually really loved that kind of reveal at the very beginning. Because it draws you in because you're curious as to what they're doing with it.
I like that they had the attention to detail to at least like they showed the spear that the thing that Ripley shot him with.
Yeah.
You know, that shit was still in him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, that fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Like, she got me.
Yeah. I also, I mean, they paid so much attention to so many like really good things in this movie. The way that they used the acidic blood.
Yeah. The way that one guy got killed. He tried to, kill all the eggs and then as a result he got the acid spilled on him. I'm like, move.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that shit's just gonna eat right through you, dog.
Right.
And it did. That was horrible.
Like bad Mexican, this is gonna go right fucking through you.
I mean, obviously, like if you're gonna die to the Xenomorph, like obviously the best way to go is for the grown one to hit you with the back of the head, fucking mouth thing.
Ugh.
And the crazy thing is like I don't even think they like eat us or whatever.
They really don't. I've never seen them eat a person.
Yeah, they just like killing.
Yeah.
Here they go. Killing again.
I told you I've been doing a rewatch, right? But you know, in Resurrection, an alien spits acid on a dude's face and like melts off part of his face, and I'm like, I don't think they can do that.
Yeah, yep. It's like, well. To be fair though, all of those are clones technically.
Okay.
It's like all of them were like.
Were they genetically modified clones or just clones?
Well, they weren't perfect clones, because you got to think they took the blood of Ripley from the space station. She already had the queen inside her. Yeah. And they cloned her over and over again until they got one that they were satisfied with to take the queen out of. Well, the Ripley is not perfectly human, and the queen is not perfectly xenomorph. The xenomorph has human traits from the DNA being spliced or whatever. So it would make sense that the xenomorphs will be a little different.
I think that you put way more thought into this than they did. and I think they just said it would be really cool if this
could spit acid. I'm just trying to fill in the blanks, buddy. You asked me what I thought.
Man, another cool scene here was the 0G scene.
Oh yeah, the visuals on this incredible, and the way that they found. Honestly, like I love the survival horror aspects of this. Yeah, like the gravity almost fucks them from jump at the beginning.
Bro, imagine getting killed because you're in 0G. There's nothing you can do, just float into like a pile of acid.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
just slowly facing your death. Oh,
and that was the whole thing. It's like we can't mass slaughter these things. It's like it's going to eat through the hull. and then we're all going to get vented.
Right.
So, like, the zero-G thing was, like, a perfect way to, like, neutralize the acid and keep it from eating through the ship while they, like, mass murdered them. And the tension in this scene is really good, too, because you kind of the whole time you think they're going to do the typical Hollywood thing where, like, the last xenomorph walks up and you get the click, click, you know? Mm-hmm. And I was so glad that they didn't do that. I was so happy about that.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I both love and dislike their use of guns in this movie. It's like, I like the fact that they had the fucking easy mode headlock because that explains why they'll be able to use the guns because none of them are trained,
right?
You know, but still, what I don't like is that it just ends up with them using guns like they're trained, killing a bunch of xenomorphs, and yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's just. It's not my favorite thing, you know. Like again, it makes sense for like Space Marines to do that shit because they're fucking Space Marines. But I was like, how come we've never seen those guns like that?
Right. Yeah. You know? Never again.
Yeah.
You'd think that they would have had them on that space station 300 years later.
No facts. Yeah.
You know, what's interesting is I want to know where they got the face huggers, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like maybe they went and harvested a bunch of eggs somewhere, and then they also at the same time were looking for that xenomorph from the Nostromo.
Yeah, you have to wonder, right? So when does this take place exactly? We know it's between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
2 takes place, 57 years after 1.
Yeah.
How many years after 1 is this?
I think they said 6 years ago.
Okay.
From the Nostromo. Which, if correct me if I'm wrong, but don't they reveal in the first movie that the whole purpose of their mission, like that is it Bishop?
Ash. Bishop's in the second one.
Bishop is in the second one.
Yeah, it was Ash in the first one. It was basically like the second antagonist.
Yeah, they didn't. Oh, it is Ash.
Yeah.
Why the fuck didn't they keep the chest names for all of them? Anyway, because it's Rook in this one.
It's Rook in this one. Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, Ash, doesn't he kind of reveal that like this was their real mission anyway?
Uh-huh.
So like, yeah, because obviously like they already knew about the Xenomorphs because of Prometheus and Covenant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it would make sense that they probably got some eggs already. And that's why they have all these face huggers on this space station. By the way, there's no amount of money you can pay me to work on this space station. Like,
oh, yeah. Even in real life, those motherfuckers still stuck, like in real life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't give a fuck, like, what kind of containment protocols. They had containment protocols in Jurassic Park.
Right. Like, shit never works out.
Yeah, no. They had even better ones in Jurassic World because, you know, of Jurassic Park.
Yeah. And it still went sideways.
Like, opening weekend or whatever.
Right. Interesting side note, you know that as we speak, they've been releasing Avengers versus Alien comic books, and apparently they're really fucking good.
Wow.
Yeah, Jonathan Hickman is writing them, and I'm like, that's the perfect motherfucker to get to write this.
That's crazy.
And like the one thing that's like been blowing up on the internet is a fucking symbiote is trying to attach itself to Miles, but there's a face hugger that's also trying to get to Miles, and the symbiote ends up attaching to the face hugger.
Oh no!
Right.
Oh no! That's awful.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying. But yeah, Miles gets face hugged, but they get it off of him. Not quite sure what the aftermath is yet, but apparently, by all accounts, it's a really good read. So whenever they finally complete it, I have to pick that up.
You moved a bunch of shit around in here, didn't you, at some point?
I don't think so.
Well, because I thought that your Invincible books used to be here.
I think they've been over here for a good minute.
Have they?
Yeah.
But I was trying to remember the motherfucker that writes those. That's Kirkman, Robert Kirkman?
Yep.
I think he'd be good. Take on that shit, too.
Yeah. Hickman, he's just really good at the sci-fi stuff.
Have they got Kirkman to write some Marvel Zombies?
Didn't he write Marvel Zombies?
Okay, he had. That's just too perfect. You know what I'm saying? He's got to have.
Yeah, that makes way too much sense.
If they hadn't, they got to get on that shit. But I'm pretty. You know, I was just thinking like he had to have been involved in that somewhere, right?
Yeah. Marvel Zombies was written by Kirkman.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
right.
Good
that
deal.
would make too much sense.
But I think he would have a good take on that too.
Yeah, I would like that. Oddly enough, I don't have any of the old school Predator or Alien comic books. As much as I love those franchises, it's just not enough money, not enough space, not enough time.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you check out that new Avengers run that I was telling you about? That's like supposedly really good. Have you looked at any of that?
Chip Zdarsky is the writer, and he's also tremendous.
Yeah.
But you know, I always read in like the collected edition, so I got to wait until they wrap it up.
When they print an Omni or whatever.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
It sounds good, man. The fact that they have like a modern Avengers story, you know, that's like people are really liking. Avengers Twilight. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, you know. Mm-hmm. There's hope.
There is hope, man. I mean, the fucking tremendous writers, they're emerging again. So that's phenomenal.
I mean, it all comes full circle, right?
Yeah, it does.
Mean, nothing stands the test of time forever, but also nothing's ever really gone forever either. I mean, you look at the Western, right? It dominated the cinema for a few decades.
Oh yeah.
And then it became the stadium country of movies, right? It was like nobody wants to go anywhere near a fucking Western.
Why did the Western die?
Probably for the same reason that the superhero genre is looking to off itself, because they just kept making the same shit, and after you've seen the same movie 900 times, you know.
Yeah.
Or it could just be that John Wayne died. You know what I mean? it could be either way.
Clint Eastwood, though, I think he definitely took up that mantle.
That's true. But you look at it now, and you have Yellowstone is the biggest streaming hit there is. You're seeing that genre kind of return. I mean, obviously it has, you know, Westworld is more sci-fi than anything, but it has a lot of Western stuff in it too. So, you know, that genre is having a bit of a rebirth right now. So, you know, nothing ever stays gone necessarily. So, you know, comic books went into a slump, and you know, the odds are that they're going to return. Yeah. And it seems like we kind of are seeing kind of a renaissance right now. Hopefully that continues.
Hopefully that fucking continues.
Let that shit bleed over into the movies and stuff too.
Oh please, yeah, because they're gonna need more and more shit to draw upon eventually.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many classic stories that they can make.
You know what's funny? That was my original worry for X-Men '97. I'm like, you guys used up all the good Claremont stuff with the original series. You know, like where are you gonna go from here?
Bo DeMaio was like, "Fuck you, dog."
Right. I'm like Grant Morrison.
He's like, when I run out of Claremont, I'll adapt some other shit, and if I run out of that, I'll make some shit up, and you'll fucking like it.
And he was right.
Yeah,
he was right.
You remember it. You see, they got Gambit for fucking MomoCon.
Really?
Yeah. You might have to.
Oh shit!
You might have to roll up. They got Gambit, Magneto, and Rogue confirmed.
Damn, already.
Yeah.
MomoCons, they're doing it fucking early now.
Bruh, they were not fucking around. Literally on Tuesday, they were like, "Hey, no, you guys are missing the con. Tickets are on sale." I was like, "You bitches."
Damn. So you said they're gonna have Gambit, Magneto,
and Rogue are all confirmed already.
So like the ones we didn't get at Dragon Con.
Yeah, what's crazy is I could have got Matt Watterson. That's Magneto. I could have no line walked up and got his autograph.
That's wild.
The weekend before Dragon Con, but I was trying to save money.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that's not going to be the fucking case. I'm going to be waiting an hour for that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Momo or worse.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it'll have died down a little bit by then.
When does season 2 of 97 come out?
Not before May.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some time. Got some work to do.
So there's the part where the xenomorph comes in. He's like, "Whoo, I'm about to make a name for myself."
And then like when the giant hybrid comes out, he's like, "You make sure they remember what happened here today." That thing was creepy as fuck, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the end scene here. What do you think about the ending? The giant, creepy,
engineer xenomorph,
weird alien xenoman.
God, I wish that was his name in the credits now. Xenoman.
Weird alien xenoman.
First of all, he was played by a practical person, 7'6" tall basketball player.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it was a guy in a suit. They took it back to the original.
And I guess they just kind of put the CG on him.
Yeah, put the CG on him, and I'm pretty sure like the tail was probably puppeted behind him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you can see BTS footage of him in the fucking suit. He's very tall and lanky, and so like he made perfect for what they were going for here. So I can't say this for a fact because, like I said earlier, it was spoiled for me. Like I didn't know where or how, but I knew that there would be a hybrid because I saw the fucking picture.
Right.
So, but as soon as old girl said that she was pregnant, I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
But I would like to think that even if I didn't see that picture, I think my mind still would have gone there anyway. Because what's the point of you being pregnant in this movie?
Right.
I just kind of wish that the setup to get there had been less messy. Because they again tried to pay homage to two different Alien movies in this scene.
Yeah.
They tried to pay homage to Alien 1 and technically Alien 2, because Alien and Aliens both do the thing where you think the threat is resolved and we're winding down.
Yeah.
And now the threat is back.
Right.
And Romulus tries to do that again here. It does do that again here.
Right.
But then they also pay homage to Resurrection because we get the hybrid thing.
And I kind of, for a minute, thought they were going to kill it in the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was glad that they didn't.
Yeah.
Because that would have been too far for me.
What if they killed it by Rain getting in a mech loader suit and then shooting it out of jettisoning it out of a space shuttle thing, and it goes out into space. They just combine all the
kills, all the ending kills
into one.
Man, I gotta say that the imagery of like the rings around the planet and everything, and the way that they killed that fucking creepy ass thing, all of that shit was so good. And honestly, they do a really good job of setting up a sequel without being like, "Hey, we're setting up a sequel here," because they obviously, like, Weyland-Yutani has to have some kind of tracker on that fucking Prometheus gene pod that they took.
Yeah.
And they still have it.
Yeah.
They coming after that shit.
Oh, for sure.
That shit just ain't, that's unobtainium, dog. That shit ain't just laying around.
Yeah. So why exactly wasn't this place more guarded or looked after, you wonder?
Well, I mean, I think obviously because it got fucked. They brought that xenomorph on board and it wrecked everybody,
Yeah. You don't think that they were in contact with anyone off board?
Well, I mean, I think obviously they were, but I also think that at this point in time, I don't think Weyland-Yutani had the resources to just send a fucking team of Marines on board. Plus, to their knowledge, the thing in an hour and a half was going to crash into the rings anyway.
Yeah.
So as far as they knew, like, there probably wasn't a way to save the thing. They weren't going to be able to get up there fast enough.
Yeah.
I will say, though, when they took the cryopods or whatever, I was like, that whole like the threats resolved thing. I was like, man, I feel like there's still enough time left in this movie. Some other shit is gonna pop off, and I was like, they're gonna open up these pods and like they're gonna have like either like infected people in them or something, So I kind of always, because they never show you what's inside those pods they bring on the ship, and I was like, man, I feel like there's gonna be some fuck shit in these pods.
How mad would you have been if there were a Sigourney Weaver cameo?
It would have been bad. It would have ruined it for me.
I think it would have lessened my experience, but because Sigourney Weaver's in it, I would have had to give it a higher score. I fucking with it did 9.7.
Yeah, right.
Sigourney Weaver's in it.
I think the only way I would have been okay with Sigourney Weaver cameo is if like maybe they had showed her at the end in
cryo,
like in cryo or something, just to kind of tie into Aliens. That would have been it.
Like her escape shuttle just floating by, and
yeah. That would have been it. Like, because obviously, like canonically, she's in cryo right now. There's nothing you can do with her,
right,
without cheapening it.
If she comes out of cryo and then she goes back into cryo, and she just forgets to mention it in Aliens.
Oh God. No. No. This is the Oliver Queen. I was on the island for 6 years.
Right.
But I also left every few weeks.
Yeah.
Had a brief sabbatical to Russia.
But other than that, I was on the island for all 6 years.
Yeah, I was stranded on this island this whole time.
Right.
Other than when I wasn't.
I think that's clearly the money shot of the movie, though. It's like the creepy Xeno man, as you put him.
How the fuck did Oliver Queen keep getting dropped back on that same fucking island?
Ain't you seen Lost?
Yeah.
That shit happens.
But
sometimes.
I think the island in Lost is like a metaphorical place.
I watched the whole series, Caleb. I still don't know what that fucking island was.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. The way they wrapped that shit up was horrible.
It was.
But anyway, yeah. That's another thing. Let's talk about the Ian Holm reveal, because we got Rook in this, and it made sense that model resembled Ian Holm. A lot of people didn't like this.
I've heard that there was some backlash a little bit.
And the thing about it is, number one, it made sense. Number two, apparently they, this was not the Flash type thing. They actually got the permission from his family and everything to do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that being the case, I thought it was tremendous. It was eerie how well they were able to recreate Ian Holm.
It looked identical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was creepy as fuck.
He was. He's always been a creepy fuck. One of my favorite moments, watching Alien for the first time is coming to the realization that still there's something up with this motherfucker here.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why is he so strong? And and then you get the reveal. Oh, he's a goddamn robot. Fucking robots.
Yeah, because the crew didn't know he was a synthetic in that?
No, they didn't know, yeah. Because they're just fucking minors. Why would they send a synthetic? Why would Will and Yutani send a fucking synthetic on board with them? And
it's kind of weird, right? Like that movie kind of defined it, and then we've gotten the synthetics in like everything since then. They've become a really big part of the lore.
Right.
I loved how they were used in this, both from Andy and also with Rook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I liked that they played with ironically the human dynamic between Andy and Rain. When he gets his, I don't want to call it an upgrade, but he gets
he gets his dirge, his dark urge mode.
He gets his dark urge mode. Yeah. But I mean, he definitely becomes more proficient in all ways. But changing his prime directive really kind of fucked him up.
Yeah. They did really good with that. Like, the way that the director did this so many times throughout this movie, right, is there's so many times in this that you think you're going to get just a straight up trope that you've seen in 100 different movies like this. And they always either subvert those expectations, like they will, like kind of with the ammo thing, they'll set it up for you like they're gonna do the thing, and then they don't, and it makes me very happy.
Right.
Or they'll give you the scenario and then kind of turn it on its head. I've talked a lot of positives about this movie, so I am going to hit on a negative here. I was not a huge fan of the, the Predator slash Jurassic Park T-Rex face hugger scene. I thought the tension in that scene was amazing, but I'm not really digging the whole, well, if we just put the room at our body temperature and don't make a lot of noise, they won't see us.
I didn't like that either.
No, it was a very Tremors 2.
And it just didn't track with the facehuggers for me.
No, it didn't track with the rest of the facehugger lore.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but even if they had set the temperature to be 98.6 degrees or whatever, after they did that, they opened that giant fucking blast door.
Yeah.
Which would have immediately changed the temp in there. Go set your oven on whatever you want and then wait for it to go off and then open the door and leave it open for a second. And you'll see that the temp is going to drop.
Right.
You know? That's thermodynamics.
But you're right. The tension in that scene was very high. But also, like you said, it just didn't logically track. And I was like, is new Andy trying to get them killed? You know?
I thought that for a second too, that like now he's doing whatever's best for the company. Like what is the objective of this space station? Because we don't know at that point. There's a time where I almost think he's trying to get them infected or whatever.
And he might have been.
Yeah. Because that doesn't really change their directive.
Yeah. There was the one scene that I really enjoyed, and it was when what's his name? Tyler, Rain, and Tyler. They were trying to get Andy to open up the door so that the other girl could come in, but he wouldn't open the door because he knew that there was a xenomorph somewhere in that other room.
Right.
And then we as the audience, we get to see the xenomorph. He's not immediately killing the girl. He's looking down, waiting for them to open the door.
Yeah.
And I just love that they showed the intelligence of the xenomorph like that.
Yeah, I love they showed the intelligence of the xenomorph and also like that he's thinking like a machine. And they actually established that pretty early on. They're like, well, a synthetic, can't harm a human. And they're like, no, but they can make a decision that harms a human.
Yeah.
They're looking at it from a purely numbers game. Oh, I sacrificed these 3 miners to save 10.
Yeah.
And we see that here.
Yep.
Where he's essentially like, yeah, I mean, we might could save her, but there's a much greater chance of us all just dying.
Oh, yeah, and that was the right call he made.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because I've seen how those blast doors move. That xenomorph would have gotten in there in 0.2 seconds.
I love the practical effects on the xenomorphs in this. I will say that it felt like they were a little camera shy with them.
Yeah, and there's a fine line, right? Because on one hand, with any type of creature feature, you almost always do better when you show them in shadow.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you still have to show them.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think maybe part of that is because of the animatronics of it all.
Right.
But I mean, hell, you go back and watch Alien, like the original Alien, and it's clearly again a 7-foot tall dude in the suit, and so he moves a lot more like a human in the first Alien movie, whereas as time goes on they move more animalistic like. So I don't know. Maybe like a marriage between like a dude in a suit and animatronics would have helped. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really bother me, but I did kind of, you kind of notice it going in. You're like, okay, they're not showing the whole xenomorph. They're not showing a lot of them. But honestly, they never really do.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's just the xenomorph to me at this point is so iconic that it's like you're not hiding him for our sake because we all know what the fuck they look like. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of like I can understand doing it for the suspense and the tension, but at some point I really would have liked the full camera shot of one of them in the light,
Yeah.
because they're such a cool and impressive creature.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best shot we get is actually when he's got one of them. I think it's the girl impaled on the tail, and he's kind of like climbing up.
Oh yeah.
That was a cool shot. I always love when because they have the prehensile tails. They have the incredible control over their tails, and that's a fucking weapon for them. And I really love when they use that.
Same. Yeah, that might be the worst way they can kill you, actually.
The tail impale?
Yeah.
I'll take it over the acid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the acid, if the acid was like instant, then I'd take the acid, but.
No, it's just fast enough and slow enough to be awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not fast enough that it just instantly burns right through you.
Right.
But it's also fast enough that it will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Especially that where they showed that it had like eaten all of the flesh and everything off of it. He just had the bone.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. You know that shit had to be awful.
God, that was fucking gruesome. I was like, roll.
Yeah.
Like, don't step. But by that point, it was too late because that shit had burned right through him.
Well, they also don't know what we know. You have to keep that in mind too. Is that?
Well, I mean, I know that if that thing fucking drips on me and it burns like a motherfucker, I should probably not be there.
Oh yeah, true. But he was too far gone by the time that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
That dude was an asshole though.
He was. He tried there in the end with the flamethrower and
It was a shock stick.
Oh yeah, it was a shock stick.
It was like a mega taser.
Yeah, he had the super shock stick thing. Yeah, and he stuck the stick inside the
little cocoon or whatever. I was like, yeah man, all you're gonna do is piss it the fuck off.
Right.
And he did.
Mm-hmm. Big time. Man, so let me put you in a scenario here.
Okay.
All right. $5 million.
All right. I'm liking it.
Okay. $5 million provided to you by way of Wayland Utani.
I'm not liking it, but hold on. I'm about to provide a little ASMR here.
There it goes. There it goes.
I was like, how long do I got to twist this thing?
All right.
$5 million. Wayland Utani. Not loving it.
Yep. Okay. You're a one-man crew. Okay. It is real simple. They got the ship on autopilot for you. They just need you to go to a derelict space station. There is no living conscious creature on the ship. All you got to do is retrieve a sample casing, and the sample casing is of a face hugger, suspended animation. There's plenty of them there. Just retrieve one. By the time you get to the space station, it's going to take you maybe 45 minutes to make the track through the space station to get the specimen and to get out. $5 million. You do that, you bring it, put it on the ship, secure it, bring it back to Wayland Utani, you get your $5 million.
I'm going to hard pass. Yeah. Because I'm not going to get that $5 million. My best case scenario is that I'm going to trip and fall and die on the way to the thing. Or that my spaceship will rupture and I will be sucked out into the void of space and die. Those are my best case scenarios. Worst case, I'm going to end up with one of them fucking things busting out my chest.
Yeah.
And that shit doesn't seem...
Best case, though, well, the best of the worst case it burst out your chest when you're on the way back to it on Utani.
and I just deliver them. They get to keep their 5 million, and I just deliver them a fresh Xenomorph.
Yeah. Instead of delivering them a facehugger specimen, you just give them a brand new Xenomorph.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Man, they did such a good... Like, the facehuggers in this are more terrifying than the Xenomorphs.
I was going to say that.
They did an incredible job with them.
They were incredibly intimidating.
The way they moved, all of it.
Because, like, well, shit, I was going to say, at least you can see a Xenomorph coming. Sometimes you can't.
Right.
Sometimes those Xenomorphs, they can just be hiding in the tuck and you not even know.
Yeah.
Hell, as a matter of fact, they do that in the first one.
It's... I think the thing about the Xenomorphs is, like, they just want to kill you, right? Mm-hmm. But the facehuggers have such a...
They want to fuck you.
Yeah, they have such a very clear directive. And, having one of those things bust out of you is got to be just absolutely terrifying.
Oh, yeah. I think what
insanely painful.
What would make it worse is, like, the knowing. Like, so far, a lot of people know what happens.
Right.
But, like, if you know... ahead of time, that just makes it even worse.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah, because the girl in this one that has it happen, she's in it having a bad time, but like it's before she knows really what's happening, it's kind of done kill her. So
yeah, that shit was rough.
Andy was about to end that bitch.
Oh yeah, and I mean, shit, rightfully so. He knew what was up.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
I mean, because also at that point, it's like you're already dead. You're literally a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, literally.
So you're better off just taking a bullet to the head. Will that stop the process, or will the gestation still continue?
No, I'm pretty sure that even if you're dead already, I think once it's that thing's in you. Like, their ability to survive is, like, well beyond the cockroach, you know? Once it's already implanted that egg in you, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah.
If that thing completes the mating process, I think you're done no matter what. I mean, you're not going to care. You're going to be dead.
Right. I would at least appreciate it if the facehuggers did a little mating dance before they raped me.
Oh my god!
Just make me feel a little better. Look at them go.
Oh my god! When they pulled the one out of the chick's mouth or whatever, I was like, man, that tube's going a long way.
Right, that shit is not stopping.
Yeah,
motherfucker went balls deep.
The only way it knows how. Where does it store that tube?
It's got to coil up inside itself.
Yeah,
right?
It's got to like maybe go down into the tail or something.
Yeah. God damn, those things are creepy. H.R. Geiger, man, what a weird guy. All right.
Yeah.
What a weird. And you ever like seeing of his like random drawings? It's so phallic, all of it.
Yeah, it is, huh? Yeah. Well, everything is based on like archetypes that exist in our world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I guess dicks, just that's a thing that exists.
Yeah. For those who don't know, H.R. Geiger, like his drawings are what inspired the look of like basically everything in the Alien movies.
Yeah.
From the ships to the interior to the Xenomorphs, facehuggers, he kind of did all of that.
This is gonna sound ignorant of me, but. Is that the same guy that invented the Geiger counter? It's got to be two different guys, right?
There's got to be two different guys.
There's no way that this guy was like a phallic like, alien artist and a fucking radiation scientist.
What if they were brothers, right? Twin brothers. God. And like their parents like, oh, we're so proud of, I don't know, John Geiger for his contributions to science. But HR, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I gotta look it up. Let's see. Yeah, okay, it was invented by Hans Geiger.
That starts with an H.
That starts with an H. But like this motherfucker was died in 1945.
Oh shit.
He was a German physicist. Physicist. Jesus Christ.
Maybe that's HR's dad.
Oh my God. Well, this guy was he lived in Switzerland.
Oh, he did, huh?
And he was born in 1940.
Yo, the picture of this motherfucker, like the first one that pops up, tells me a lot about this guy.
Yeah,
He
kind of looks like a Swiss Ron Jeremy.
Yo, I'm looking at like the quick facts about him, bruh. His cause of death. Do you know what it says?
What's that?
It says cause of death, injury in humans. The fuck does that mean?
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah,
they could have been related, for sure.
it's entirely possible, right? Like they could be like cousins or something.
Well, no, I mean the him and the Geiger counter guy.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
No, I mean this guy died in 45, and HR was born in 40. So
Oh yeah, so
and the guy that invented the Geiger counter was the brother of meteorologist and climatologist Rudolf Geiger. So there could be even more.
oh shit, the Geigers don't stop.
Yeah, that's why they had to invent a counter, because there's a bunch of them.
Everything this motherfucker does is just so
It is weird, right?
yeah. And is that one shooting you the bird?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it
Yeah.
is, yeah. Yeah, like everything he does is so.
Isn't there a video game that's kind of based off of this too? That's kind of that same art style.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Me
but
either. I
it's
think it's on
kinda
Game
similar.
Pass.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
We're way off the rails here,
We
folks.
are. Look
We
up H.R.
apologize.
Geiger's artwork. It'll creep you right out.
Also, check out Chernobyl, which is an excellent show. It has Geiger counters in it.
Yeah, check it out too. Check out all the Geigers. Check out the meteorologist as well.
I'm sure his German weather reports from 42 or whatever were excellent.
They were spot on.
I guarantee you that they probably weren't.
Well, I mean, hell. Some of these meteorologists, man, like I've seen this one that I think she was like from Brazil. I'm like, I will watch the fucking Weather Channel every day.
Yep, I know the one you're talking about. It's like a 1942 German fucking meteorologist, like giving the weather forecast. All of a sudden, like Captain America just shows up and like beats the shit out of him.
That would be phenomenal.
It's raining democracy today.
Yes.
It's Soldier Boy instead.
Oh no, he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
What else do we want to say about this movie?
Go see it, man. Go see it.
Oh, I do have another valid question. What do you want to see the franchise go next?
I want to see a sequel, man. I want to see them get to this other planet that they're headed for. I want to see the racism overtones against the synthetic, against Andy. If you're gonna do that, though, please put some black characters on that planet.
I'm gonna need them to do that, dog. Like,
Please.
they've had to have been aware at what they were doing with Andy in this movie, right? Like, I want to believe that they knew what they were doing because, man, the racial overtones were insane.
Right, yeah.
And
Slightly too on the nose. There should have been another black character.
100%.
Honestly, it should have been the dude who was like super against the synthetics, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Like just to bring some kind of counterbalance to this, because on his face it looks extremely racist. Like
really
just imagine you're watching this movie, right? And then like somebody walks in the room around the par where they're saying, "Well, we don't." They basically, "We don't want your kind here." To the only black guy in the movie.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
Yeah, and it'll be an even worse look if they get to that planet and it's just like a bunch of white people.
We don't allow your kind here, synth.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I want to see that. I clearly want to see like them get to this planet or whatever. I'd like to see Weyland Yutani kind of come after them. The problem with that plot line, right, is like, how do you introduce the xenomorphs?
Yeah. There's always the idea of a facehugger got on the ship, you know.
Right.
Or,
yeah. One got on the ship, whatever comes after them. It's really difficult because while you want to introduce more stuff to the xenomorph lore, if you kind of go out, anytime you go outside of the pre-established, there's the facehuggers, there's the queen, and then there's the soldiers. Anytime you kind of veer outside of that, there's a little backlash.
Yeah.
Right? But I think at this point in time, I think that this franchise has an opportunity to kind of dig more into the lore and the story of things if they want to make a sequel with these characters. Mm-hmm. If they don't want to make a sequel to these characters, I would like to see them put something. I'd like to see them go completely in a different direction with it and put something after Resurrection in the timeline.
Yeah, because chronologically, Resurrection is still the last one, right?
It's like 300 years after all of this.
Yeah. Man, and was it Ron Perlman who was in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, his character's dead, so you know.
Yeah.
Can't bring him back. Yeah. The problem, that might be the way they would have to go, because the problem with doing a direct sequel to Romulus is how much you're going to fit between that and Aliens, you know?
Right. Or you can kind of go alongside that, but yeah, I mean, it'd be difficult, right? You know, obviously they always have the avenue where they can explore. If they want to get Sigourney Weaver back for one more before it's too late, they can always go, you know, explore the whole them getting back to Earth. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Earth is like a fucking shithole by Resurrection, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's Blade Runner, Earth, for the most part.
Yeah. They could do the crossover.
That's always possible, man. Y'all better hit up Harrison Ford quick.
Yeah.
Because he ain't getting any younger.
He is not. Yeah.
Apparently, they tried to get Ian McKellen to come back as Gandalf. And he was like, y'all better make whatever movie this is fast. He's like, I'm like 85, dog. Actually, I think he might be older than that.
Is he really?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, Ian McKellen is 80. He's 85. So it's like, I mean,
yeah,
you know, like
every time I see Patrick Stewart, I'm like, man, I hope this isn't the last time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to watch him in Picard because they have him playing an older version of that character, and he does it really well.
I bet he does.
Yeah, and you're watching it, you're just like, man, you know. But then again, when we saw him in Multiverse of Madness, you know, he kind of looked exactly like he did in. He looked younger than he did in Logan. So
I think he's just happy that he gets to sit down.
Yeah.
But yeah, if when they do a sequel, I think they're gonna be tempted to do a direct sequel to Romulus because of the reception that this movie's gotten.
Yeah.
But I think if you're thinking long term, you kind of have to go ahead of Resurrection, or hell, you could pull a Halloween and just say fuck it and retcon 3 Resurrection.
Oh my God!
So that they don't exist.
I don't think people would be upset with that, but the thing is, the major thing that makes 3 so awful is that they kill all these really well established characters from Aliens off screen.
Oh yeah. And that part was fucking terrible.
And it completely fucking ruins that movie.
Oh yeah,
because it's like, oh, we all survived, and it's like, oh no, they all died in the escape pod or whatever the fuck ever.
Yeah, I'm like, for fucking what?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, so it completely ruins Aliens because it's all for nothing. Like if they'd have died in the compound, it would have been the same. It would have
been the same. Yeah.
So it's completely it just completely fucking ruins the whole thing. And they never really explained why Bishop wouldn't have been, why they couldn't have just put Bishop back together.
They 100% could have.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did they get incinerated? Like, what happened?
Right.
So, yeah, that whole thing is wild, right? And that's what makes it so awful. So, I would not be upset if they were just like, hey, we're going to make Alien 3.
Mm-hmm. They're like, but you already made...
No. Yeah. It's tough, right? Because if they're not going to do that, you know, they almost kind of got to like fucking hard reboot the whole franchise. Like if they're not going to do any of those things.
Yeah, but hell, even then, hard rebooting the whole franchise, you're still not making a sequel to Romulus.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I do think we're going to get at least one Romulus sequel.
Yeah.
And if they fuck that up, then maybe they hard reboot the whole thing.
You know, we say that, but like, how long ago should they have rebooted Terminator? You know, how long ago should they have rebooted several of these franchises? Hell, they've rebooted Halloween like at least twice.
I mean, it's arguable that there's only been 2 good Terminator movies.
Is it? I don't know if that's arguable.
I don't
Salvation isn't awful.
I don't hate 3 either, to be honest.
If I never seen 1 or 2, then 3 is tolerable.
Yeah, I feel like there's tiers to this, right? Like 1 and 2, cream of the crop.
Right.
And I'm actually, I know you disagree with this, but I'm actually going to put 2 like kind of in its own league because
I'm with you on that.
I think 2 is so important to cinema as a whole.
Yeah.
Right. And then you drop in quality and you got like 3 in Salvation.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like it's like, you know, it's like our bottom 5 from the MCU listing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, you know, this is like you ate a peanut butter sandwich shit sandwich, and then this is like you had the Cutterfish, you know. You're really just
you're not winning.
You're just arguing over how soggy the shit sandwich is at that point.
Yeah,
it's still a shit sandwich.
Still a shit sandwich.
And yeah, man, you know, like Terminator's been awful for a while.
Yeah,
and so yeah, it's fair.
I think with Terminator, they're just afraid that because I mean Arnold is such an iconic persona, and you're not gonna get another Arnold. You know,
you're not. And I mean, if they really wanted to. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the time. If they wanted to hard reboot that shit, they have Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, man. A fucking killer Henry Cavill robot would be fucking terrifying.
It would be. You know how many women, hell, and men would love to see, like, the, you know, because whenever they teleport, they always end up naked.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
I just see people leaving after that scene is over.
Yeah, he just, like, stands up in the spotlight or whatever. They just got the close-up on the booty shot or whatever. Right. And then he turns around with a cigar and he's like, what's up, bub?
You know, if he wasn't so damn egotistical and self-centered, I think The Rock would be a good Terminator.
Oh, yeah, but you can't involve him in anything.
You can't. And he would have the Terminator turning babyface like ASAP.
Oh, yeah. And it would, yeah, and they'd be cracking jokes and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you save the Terminator franchise.
We go back in time, right, to win.
No. No, I think you got to hard reboot it.
Yeah.
You can't even do, like, they've already tried to be like, we're going to just pretend everything after 2 didn't happen, and we'll just pick up from 2. And they've already done that and fucked it right up.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Dark Fate was trying to do, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was awful.
It's like, this is the worst one.
Yeah. And I just watched Genesis. How is this worse?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, man. If there's a movie that has Emilia Clarke and Matt Smith in it, the odds of it being terrible, and I love them both. Like, that's the crazy thing is, like, I really love both of them.
Yeah.
But if there's a movie that has both of them in it, the odds of it being bad, bet on that shit being awful. Because they both have terrible agents.
Yeah, clearly. It's something about those UK agents, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something about that, you know? And the funny thing is, their best characters are both on Game of Thrones.
Right.
I apologize to any Whovians out there that may be offended by that statement.
Yeah, they might take that personal, though.
Yeah. Anyone who plays the Doctor, that's got it's a special, iconic. I'm backpedaling here.
That's crazy, dog. Out of all the shit you've said, that's what you backpedal on.
Yeah. Hey, man, listen, the Whovians are crazy.
All right.
Their TV show goes back like 90 years or something.
Hey, damn. All right. Shit, I ain't got shit to say to him.
Also, the latest Doctor I'm a huge fan of, Newt Gatwa. He's fucking tremendous. I need him to be in more things.
I haven't seen any of Doctor Who. I'm sure it's a tremendous show.
You're like, let me not fuck with him if he won't fuck with him.
Right.
Like, this motherfucker just come out and straight up tell Star Wars fans they like terrible shit. But let him just suggest that Doctor Who isn't Matt Smith's best defining role, and this motherfucker's over here walking it back.
Right.
What do they got?
Yeah. I'm going to say that. Stay far away from them. God damn.
Hey, man, anybody that produces 90 years of television and puts out like that kind of a fandom on a budget of like $16,
bruh,
they got to be doing something.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, that is true. Like that's a prestige show. You think that budget would be fucking,
Well, by the time it got to Matt Smith, the budget was considerably better.
Okay.
David Tennant really, he really like put them back on the map.
Was David Tennant before or after Matt Smith?
Before, so it's Eccleston, Tennant, Smith.
Gotcha. And they're all tremendous. So.
And I sound incredibly knowledgeable about this, but my girlfriend is a Whovian, and I can't tell you a whole lot after that. Yeah.
Fair.
Everything I know from her.
Well, I don't know how to tie that in to Aliens, except...
Were any of them in an Alien movie? Was Chris Eccleston in an Alien movie? Let's get Chris Eccleston in the next Alien.
Do they go completely American for all of these movies?
It would kind of seem. Well, is Ian Holm, right? He's British?
Yeah, Ian Holm. He's the fucking bad guy.
Yeah. Bilbo motherfucking Baggins, son.
Yep.
Yeah, when the android shows up in this movie, I was like, oh, it's Bilbo Baggins. That'll be good.
Goddamn Bilbo Baggins. Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, we have still a metric shit ton on the docket.
Oh.
The docket overfloweth.
We got Dragon Con coming up tomorrow. We still got to talk about Watchmen.
Still got to talk about Watchmen Part 1. We have the Crow 94.
Yep.
We have a shit ton of Cosmere to discuss.
Oh, God. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
How did I forget about that?
I have no idea how you forgot about that.
Oh, my God, man. Speaking of that, you're done, right? Secret History?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I should have brought you some more books. I didn't think about it.
It would have been tremendous.
But I'm coming back over here tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, it's true. You'll be back over here.
I have loaner copies of everything. You'll be fine.
Oh, shit.
I have like the you don't fuck like I don't even touch them versions, and then I have a loaner copy of everything.
I understand. For every single absolute I have the trade paperback. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Because fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, here you go. Here's my leather bound that I've never read.
Right.
You barely get to look at these.
Yeah. I'll show you a picture that I took of it.
Yeah. So we've got our Mistborn Era 1 wrap up.
We have Suicide Squad Isekai.
Yes.
The homie Dylan has already finished it. We are behind.
We are. I guess I need to start that shit.
Yep.
I gotta watch Beetlejuice tonight though, because I'm going to see the second one tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
And I haven't seen that shit since I was a child, so
I'm afraid to rewatch Beetlejuice 1 because I'm sure it doesn't hold up the way it did when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, you know that I don't dislike Michael Keaton, but I also don't have like any sort of special reverence for him either.
Well, he's not in the first one very much. It's just everything he does was pretty memorable.
Yeah.
You know,
I guarantee you he's in the second one a bunch.
probably
Constantly.
yeah. I've heard some things about the second one, but I'll let you go see it and you can tell me how it is.
Yeah, I'm sure. We have the next episode of Throwback, which I'm not worried about because I'm not on.
You were not on it, but the homies Oz, Dylan, and myself, Oz,
also
Dylan,
Brendan,
and Brendan. I was like, I'm forgetting somebody.
The homies Oz and Dylan, and then also Brendan.
What up, Brendan? Yeah, and we'll be discussing Big Trouble in Little China for the next throwback episode. We have Batman the Cape Crusader.
Yep.
And we have the Acolyte.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's not counting the movies coming up. There are the Joker.
I feel so bad for Manny Jacinto.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, so I kind of got spoiled, I guess, a little bit in that panel because I haven't seen the Acolyte yet. But he was at the Star Wars panel at Dragon Con.
Well, spoilers, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, I kind of picked that up.
But, like, he also never gets portrayed as a good guy either. You know what I mean? But it is a bit of a, it's a tad bit of a spoiler because they do kind of play a little bit with like a who is this, whatever. But, Darth Handsome over there, so he'll be fine. He wants to fight everyone.
He wants to, fight everybody, apparently. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, since Ray Park is problematic, they could just let him play Darth Maul. To be honest. But anyway, tomorrow. That's for tomorrow.
I was going to say, let Ray Park Stuntman do it, but Ray Park is Ray Park Stuntman.
Yeah, Ray Park is his own stuntman.
All right. But all of that and more is coming up. We also have, of course, the new Joker movie and the new Venom movie.
Rings of Power is a question mark.
Rings of Power, I can't wait to watch Caleb's review and whoever he decides to bring on to that one. It's going to be a great episode.
I'll be honest with you. So the homie K is the Tolkien expert around here. A lot of people think it's me, but it's not. I do know a lot, but she knows more than I do. Because she reads Lord of the Rings like yearly.
Sheesh.
I know. I don't think I can convince her to watch it, much less review it.
Really?
Yeah, she hates it more than I do. I don't know if I can do it. Like every time I think about watching it, like I get a little sick, and the fandom really hates it already. They really hate season 2, and I'm just like, I mean, if y'all don't fucking like it, then I'm not gonna like it.
Season 2 has had such a quiet release,
I've heard no good things. The only thing is I saw a little clip online of Sauron kind of like presenting himself to Celebrimbor, like kind of laying out the plan. And I thought it was really well done. And I was like, I guarantee you this is all we're going to get. Like, this is the only thing great that we're going to get, that's like truly worth them. Like, and as awesome as it looked, is this worth the other 50 hours of fucking garbage that we're going to get?
And they're, no matter what, they're committed to doing X amount of seasons, right?
They're like contractually obligated to make, I think, 50-something episodes.
That's wild.
Yeah. They like signed a contract with the Tolkien estate to do this many episodes. And from what I understand it is like, even if like no one watches the shit, they are going to do that many seasons.
Good grief. What a shit deal. Also, Creature Commandos comes out December 5th.
Yeah. We were really worried that we might not get it this year.
Right.
But that, James Gunn, I called him up and I said, look, man, the stuff that we got to review, like new things that are coming out superhero for the rest of the year, it's not looking good. Do you think you can get this shit out before Christmas? And he was like, I'll see what I can do. And then next thing I know, December 5th.
He came through.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
my dude.
Since you got his number and all that, man, not that I would ever use, you to kind of, for any kind of games, but
right.
Man, if he hasn't cast anyone for Jon Stewart yet, we were just talking about that earlier,
right?
Almost like it was meant to happen or something. You could
I don't think I can play that character. I think that's gonna be problematic.
I agree. I agree.
Because he doesn't have a beard, right?
Yeah. Again, you zigging where I'm zagging.
We've come full circle.
Oh shit. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap.
Yeah, we're
this
just
shit
fucking
up.
around.
We
now.
are. We're just fucking
hard.
All right. Yes. Go watch Xenomorphs and Facehuggers Part 7.
Facehuggers and friends.
Hey, if you put a condom in your mouth, can you protect yourself from a facehugger?
All right, folks. That's it. We gave you the review. Romulus was great. And this has been tremendous.
Okay.
Do the thing.
Okay.
I can't start this.
Okay. Well,
I don't know how to start this.
It starts with, that's going to be all for now. We thank you guys again for listening in. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.